Hi, welcome to the Mindset Lady. When we go to a job interview, there are so many things to think about. What am I going to say? What if they ask me this very difficult question? What should I say? How do I look? Where should I sit? What I shouldn't say and do. Those kind of things makes us numb and paralyzed, and sometimes we end up doing what we are not supposed to do at all. There will be 2 video series. In this video, as an interviewee, how you should be behaving, how your body language should be, and what you should say, what you shouldn't say. And in the next video, I will talk about the interviewer's body language. How can you understand if an interview is going well or going downfall? And why is this important? Because if you understand that the interview is not going well, then you can still turn things around. In job interviews, we get stressed. We cannot control that. And it's normal. We should accept that process. Okay, we're going to be stressed and we're going to show signs of stress, which is normal. And trust me, the interviewers already expect that because they have been there and done that. There are things that during the interview you are allowed to do and you can do, but some other things will make you look too nervous. That might cause some negative impact on the interviewer. For example, shaking your leg uncontrollably. Biting your nails is something you should not do during an interview. During the interview, we might also sigh a lot, or we can lick our lips, or we can gulp, so we will need a constant need of water. So please make sure that you have some water with you during the interview so that you can stop all these symptoms. We sigh a lot because our heart rate increases and we cannot pump enough oxygen to our body, and then you want to get more oxygen and you keep sighing. Also, this causes dry mouth. And because your mouth is dry, you will start licking your lips, biting your lips, you will start coughing. In order to prevent that, have a bottle of water with you or a glass of water while you're in the interview. Some of the stress indicators can also be indication of deception, and interviewers' brain can pick up on that and might confuse the two. Because of that, I think it's okay to cough. Maybe it's okay to, wander your eyes around the room while you're thinking, which is again indication of stress, or increased amount of eyelid closures. This is also okay. But when you bite your nails, when you bite your lips, or when you shake your legs, or when you sigh, these will look like insecurity. Another thing that we groom ourselves in stressful situations. So we play with our hair, we try to make sure that we look good to the interviewer, or we play with our necklace, which I don't have right now, or we play with our earrings when we are answering a question. If you have beard, you might be playing with your beard or your face a lot, your nose maybe, or touching your forehead a lot. If you're doing these a lot, because you're stressed, then again, this might look like insecurity. So it's okay to do it once or twice, but please be mindful about how many times you are doing these things, because if they're in extreme amount, then you might come across as not the right candidate. Also, a lot of people do these things, or they try to fix their jacket, or they try to fix their color. Again, if you're doing this for many times during the interview, probably it's not a good idea. And finally, before the interview, try to find good fillers, because if you are saying so many times or this kind of sounds, again, you're going to look insecure. Instead of that, maybe you can think of some fillers. For example, this is a great question. Or you can repeat the question back. Oh, when was the last time I experienced difficulty in my leadership position? Okay, there was this one time. See, I already bought some time for myself to think about it. And now the question is, what should you do in interviews, in job interviews? First of all, when you enter the room, firm handshake. Not too hard, not too little, a firm handshake, as you know. And before you sit down, if the interviewer didn't show you a seat, please pick a seat that you can hear and you can see the interviewer clearly, because you need to read their body language. You need to be able to hear the questions right. While you're sitting down, if you're wearing a jacket, unbutton yourself. Don't try to sit there like this. You need to be comfortable during the interview. In the seating position, either you lean your back all the way, or lean forward. Never bury yourself in the seat like this, okay? Or never be too comfortable like this, okay? This is not the right position to do it. The right position would be perpendicular to the chair, like this, or leaning forward. Leaning forward means I want to listen to you, I want to hear you, I want to make connection with you. But the most important part is you should act like you own that chair. The sofa doesn't own you, you own the sofa. So how is that possible? For example, if I'm sitting like this, my hands are in front of me, in between my legs, the sofa or the chair owns me. Or if I am like buried in between my shoulders, again, the sofa owns me. But if I am relaxed, if I am comfortable, if I'm sitting like this, or if I'm sitting like this, my thumbs are up. If you are making this position with your hands, make sure that your thumbs are up. You're still open to the interviewer. You can definitely cross your legs. I think crossing your legs shows confidence and prevents you from shaking your legs too. That's a tip for you. It allows you to lean forward even more to the interviewer, so it helps you. You can always put your hands like this on your knees while you're talking to the interviewer, or if there's a desk between you guys or table between you guys, you can put your elbows there and talk to them more openly, and you listen to them carefully. Don't cross your arms. Crossing your arms is a defensive gesture. It sounds like you are insecure and like you're trying to defend yourself. Even sometimes it might come across as too cocky. You're like talking to a manager like this. Never put your feet towards the back, because when you sit like that, the hands on your knees and you're at the edge of the chair, it looks like you can run away anytime. This is a fight or flight reaction. That means when we take this position, either we're gonna run somewhere or we're gonna get defensive so we can get up and defend ourselves. This means I'm in danger. We feel in danger and then we take this position. So you don't want the interviewer subconsciously to think that you are in danger, right? You need to look comfortable in order to look confident. While you're talking to the interviewer, try to make hand gestures that are towards outside, upward, so that you know you have the open communication. Do not lose the eye contact. Eye contact is one of the most important things in interviews, because a constant eye contact, not like a stalker, of course, not like this, but a direct eye contact that you can have with the interviewer will create this confidence. Because eye blocking is associated with lying. The less eye blocking you have, the more believable you will be, the more confident you will look. And eye blocking means not only with your hands like this, but also by looking at somewhere else in the room or staring at your hands or knees or your CV. That will be eye blocking as well. Something that we forget, but I think it is so important. Smile. When we are nervous, we tend to not to smile. Smiling will create this positive effect on the interviewer right away. If you forget to smile, that's fine. Whenever you remember, you can start smiling again. Maybe this is not an advice that I would give to everyone, because not everyone feels comfortable cracking a joke here and there, but I really find it very helpful in all my interviews when I make a joke or when I say something funny. I usually do, because that kind of breaks the ice and you both laugh, and that kind of creates this warmth right away. But if you feel like, okay, when I'm nervous, I make crappy jokes, or like I would get really nervous and I would make a mess, then don't even try it. But if you feel like you can do that, definitely this is going to help your interview a lot. When you first enter the room, also, as an icebreaker, it is important to make a comment on something. For example, if you like the location of the office, if you like the office itself, or if you like the decoration inside the room, you can comment on that. Or maybe you graduated from the same school and you know that from your research, and maybe you saw an emblem or flag of the university there. You can make a comment on that. Or you can see their children's photo on the table and you can say like, oh, beautiful children, and you know, I have 2 children too, or something like that. That will be an icebreaker as well. Even you can comment on the view from the window of the office. Oh, you have a beautiful view up here. Well, icebreaker. While you're talking to the interviewer, make sure that your head position is either straight or a little bit up, but not down. Okay, because this causes you to look in this angle, and that creates insecurity. But when you slightly kind of lift your chin up and talk like that, that might show confidence, because when we show our neck, that means that I feel safe here, I feel confident about where I am right now, who I am right now, and I'm confident with you, so I don't have any problem showing my neck. Because when we feel in danger, when we feel stress, we tend to cover our necks, because this is a very vital part of us, right? If somebody cuts our throat or breaks our neck, this is some primal instinct that we have. When we feel vulnerable, we tend to kind of hide our neck. But when we feel comfortable, when we feel confident with the people that we are together with, then we might show our neck very easily. But of course, don't talk to them like this, because it might look, again, too much confidence. Don't be afraid of a pause. So many candidates panic when they get a question that they didn't study for and they need to think about that. But that creates a panic. They kind of think that they have to answer quickly, answer right away. This is not an exam, guys. This is not going to be A in the end if you respond quickly. The fact is, because I used to be a manager for many years and I interviewed tens and hundreds of people, maybe not hundreds, but definitely tens of people, I expect a pause, because I'm asking a question, and of course you're going to think about that. If you don't think about that and you start answering, I know that you studied for it, which is great, but if there's a pause and you're thinking about it, that's not wrong. What if someone asks you, like, tell me a time that a team member didn't agree with you, how did you resolve that conflict? And somehow you didn't study for that question, and you need to think about it. You have to go back in your memory lane, try to, remember a time that you worked with a group. What was the disagreement? How did you solve that? At least this takes 30 seconds to 1 minute. You can definitely ask the interviewer, like, would you mind if I think a little bit? Or like, let me think about this just a little bit. I work there. Don't worry, this is okay. Sometimes we think that pausing for a minute will create this bad impact on the interviewer, but no, on the contrary, when you think about it, if you're gonna give the best answer, this is what we are looking at. We are looking at the end result, not the process there. Try to find a commonality. This is another thing that I wanna say. What is the commonality? I see that this position is looking for a PhD candidate, and I finished my PhD in economics, and I believe you did the same, right? You have a PhD in economics, those kind of things. So when you study the person, the interviewer, it's easy. If it's an HR, of course, you will have less info about that person. But if you're interviewing with an HR person, of course, you're not going to have all the information about this person, but you can have information about the company and the role they are looking for, and what is actually aligning with your experience. You can tell them right there and then. For example, I saw that this role is looking for someone who has been in the industry for at least 10 years, which is perfect, because I have been working as an engineer for 12 years already, and I have experience in diverse projects. Those kind of things that you see aligning with the interviewer person or the role itself or the company. This is the place to tell them. You definitely should not finish an interview without doing this, guys. Also, you need to listen to the interviewer. How are they forming their questions? How are they commenting on things? If the interviewer, for example, says that, oh, I see you have some retail industry experience. It's interesting because you have been in education business for so long. What made you go to that industry? Because I worked in retail for 3 years too, and I'm curious about what you think. As soon as you hear that, that means you need to also make a connection there. Oh, really? Where did you work for 3 years? How was your experience? Oh, I know that company. They are pretty good, but I think they recently shut down, or they laid off so many people or something like that. Just trying to make a connection there. Don't just hear and let it go disappear in the black hole, okay? Just make a connection with your interviewer as much as you can, but don't overdo it. Once or twice is enough. And finally, in the last question, when they ask, okay, do you have any questions for us? Well, you know that, of course, you need to ask questions, and we all know the generic questions that we need to ask. But what I will advise you to do something out of the box. Do something that they're not prepared for that much. For example, I usually ask them, in your team, what do you think is missing? How do you think this missing piece will be completed with this hire? Except from the job qualifications that you post on LinkedIn or Indeed, what's the most important qualification you're looking for in this ideal candidate? Or what would your ideal candidate be like? Or if I decide to improve myself in this position, are you going to support me for the trainings that I want to get or not? And if yes, what kind of support do you provide? These kinds of questions come from a candidate that really think about joining their team. They are not just there to get just the job. They really want this role, this team, and this manager. I hope this was helpful, guys. I will see you in my next video to read interviewers' body language. But if you don't want to wait till next week, you can also watch these videos right here. If you like my videos, please don't forget to subscribe. Bye.